Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update video for RS3. Now this week we see Ninja Strike 26, souped up statues. So, we got a lot of patch notes mostly, but this is just a, for example, the weekly Liminal in the Shattered Heart D&D has been removed, so you no longer need to have to wait a minimum of 30 weeks to grab the stone throw away. There's a few other things too, but there's also some new enhancers. There's 5 in total for the Motherlode Mall. And the big piece of news, it says that a number of items have had their grand exchange buy limits adjusted. So many, in fact, that they had to squeeze the list into patch notes. So we'll be heading there in a bit. The Rainbow's End is ending soon. This current one, it is ending midnight tonight, so in a little bit here. You only have a few hours left to grab those colorful goodies, so do check it out. There's that colorful rainbow outfit. If you did, hopefully you got it if you were looking for it. Then up next we have, we'll get to the patch notes after I get to the community, because as you can see there's quite a bit there. The community, we got some awesome art here, and that's really cool of the Arch Glacier for a retro style, and this is by Snowy the Hunter. That is actually really cool. And then we got the Pink Skirts event, so we have 2 of them actually. There's the Gregorovic Mass, which is going to be hosted by Mercy and Helpscape. This will be Wednesday, September 15th at 1200 to 1300 game time, World 35. Location is Sliske Lobby, the Heart of Gillinor. Up next we have the Next Angel of Death, hosted by Spotley Wolf and Nexode Mass, and that is on Friday, September 17th at 2300 to 2359 game time, World 92, and it'll be at the Ancient Prison God Wars Dungeon. We have some Scaper screenshots. First one is by Laura at RS_Dr. Floof. Rather impressive and really cool, actually, screenshot. And up next we have Pippi Spot showing off the Invention Guild. And then we have ... O Lily Heart at LAFJ.RS showing off the nice snowy parts of the world. A big community shout out to screenshots of Screenscape, Discord community that's chock full of them. So if you want to see some awesome screenshots, do go and check that out. But now, least but not last, we got the patch notes, and there is a lot of them, so please do bear with me a little bit. So first up, the statues, the weekly Liminal in the Shattered Heart D&D has been removed, so no longer need to worry about that. The Strange and Golden Rocks can now be added to the respective statues directly from the statue collection bag or the backpack. They added the feedback message upon trying to add rocks without currently possessing any. Strange and Golden Rocks will now be sent to the bank if you don't have enough bank space. If your bank is full, the rock will either replace the last item received or be lost entirely, depending on your skilling method. Info boxes will now be displayed when receiving Strange and Golden Rocks. The statue collection bag can now be filled via the bank while it's in the backpack. Enhancers, there's 5 new enhancers in the Motherlode Mall. So there is the Agile Outfit Enhancer, so grants an additional lap of progress towards the Agile Outfit per completed lap. Construction Contract Enhancer grants 100% construction credits when completing a construction contract. Anachronia Base Camp Enhancer grants a 20% drop chance for rare building resources across Anachronia. This does stack with the War of Osseous effect, which gives a maximum of plus 30% drop chance. Invention Task Enhancer grants a new task for the tech tree that you last completed a task for, and Menifos City Quest Enhancer grants 100% reputation when completing a Menifos City quest. Do keep that in mind before you go and do that quest. Save for, I guess, like right towards the end. And then pets, we have the Creeping Hand pet has been converted into an interface pet. Players can no longer able to feed the Creepy Hand leather gloves. If a player owns more than one Creepy Hand, they will be removed and the player will receive some of the thaler in compensation, regardless of which currency was originally used to purchase the additional pets. The Gecko pet has been converted into an interface pet. And again, if you own more than one, they'll be awarded colored geckos accordingly. Adult geckos can now be caught in box traps. Now, as for the Grand Exchange buy limits, so this is the adjustments. The Air, Water, Earth, Fire Talisman was 500, now 5,000. Arrowheads and Headless Arrows was 10,000, now 100,000. Feathers and Arrow Shafts was 10,000, now 100,000. Dart Tips was 5,000, now 100,000. Elder Arrow Shafts was 100, now 25,000. Elder Headless Arrows was 20,000, now 25,000. Chronotes was 20,000, now 50,000. Primal Fruit Pulp was 100, now 5,000. Spirit Shards was 10,000, now 500,000. Glorious Bar was 10,000, now 100. That's one that did drop. Mammoth Tusk was 100, now 5,000. Dino Scales was 30,000, now 100,000. Poison Slime was 1,000, now 5,000. Magic Note Paper was 500, now 2,000. Inert Adrenaline Crystals was 200, now 500. Adrenaline Crystal was 200, now 500. Vital Spark was 1,000, now 2,000. Abomination Cape was 100, now it is 2. Spider Leg was 100, and now is 2. Mechanized Chinchompa was 20,000, now 5,000. Barrow's Totems was 50, now 200. Viswax was 200, now 500. Swamp Tar was 5,000, now 20,000. XP Capacitor was 2, now 5. Erexite Pheromone was 100, now 10. Shadowy Egg was 10, now 2. Flies and Beetle Bits was 100, and now 1,000. Divine Charges and Empty Containers was 10,000, and now 1,000. Tier 3 Raw Big Game Hunter Meats was 100, now 1,000. Pterosaur Maul Pieces was 100, and now 2. Sea Singer Tetsu Weapon Upgrade Kit was 1, now 2. Merithiel's Staff and Purple Mushroom was 100, now 2. Primal Dessert Starter Main Course was 100, now 1,000. All Potion Bombs was 100, now 1,000. Power Burst Potions was 100, now 1,000. Herb Seeds was 100, now 500. Masterwork and Trimmed Masterwork Armors was 1,000, now 2. And Treasure Trail item sets, the shared buy limit of 2 now is 50, but there is still a group restriction. General QOL is the Spirit Cape unlock special move cost reduction now applies to non-combat familiars as well. Move buyer contract options from the Manor Farm to the ranch and the ranch out of time to a notice board, which allows players to easily select which buyers they'd like to sell to. Rename the option on both the Granny Potterington and the Prehistoric Potterington to reflect those changes. Players can now select whether they have a stack value, show the Grand Exchange price, or high alchemy price. They can also disable the display altogether. This can be done under Settings, Item Drops, Item Stack Information. This means Ironmen will no longer have to see high alchemy prices. This affects how much gold is added to room metrics drops based on chosen settings, and will adjust accordingly when the setting is changed. Fix an issue where it was possible to obtain multiple rare items from Anachronia Base Camp. The Conquest Door achievement is no longer required for the Trimmed Completionist Cape. The Lorehound Pet will now affect the drop rates of Ancient Pages and the Magister's Journal pages. The Glacier Front fixes are Reaper assignments will now correctly indicate that the Arch Glacier is the target when using Quick Chat. Fix a grammar error of the group system UI for the Arch Glacier fight. Arch Glacier logs are now shown in the Adventures log. Rewards from the Arch Glacier's fight are now given to the top 3 players. The Arch Glacier's drops will no longer spawn below the boss, where they are inaccessible to the player. Players cannot consistently leave the Arch Glacier's arena after defeating the boss in hard mode. Burthorpe Path improvements. The Lumbridge Guardsman and Harlan the Defense Skill Master have had a trip to the armory, so they're all sporting new armor, which will look a lot better. This includes the Lumbridge Guardsman who appeared during the cutscene in You Are It. So the head and chat head models have also been updated as well. Dark Wizards have clearly been checking off their task list because now they are wearing the Dark Mage outfit from Yak to the Basics. At least, you know, they think so. A UI tutorial regarding terms dropped by Cows and Burthorpe now only occurs upon receiving the specific term required to close the prompt. Change the default position of the loot window on desktop. Other improvements are the auto loot bars option has been removed from the metallic dragon trinkets. The interface for dragon and metallic dragon trinkets have been refreshed. Fixes. Using OpenAll geodes now correctly interrupts the mining action. You'll still receive XP and ore. Re-enable the ability to apply the Bloom graphical settings on mobile. Fix an issue that prevented the Fire Earn spell from awarding crafting XP if your level was less than 82. Mining within the Clan Citadel will now play an animation featuring the correct pickaxe. Fix the typo in Leonard's dialogue. Players may now summon familiars at the Azure Prison checkpoint in the Temple of Amanishi. Remove a cheeky extra book from the Taking It Easy wrist animation. Portable workbenches can now be searched for on the Grand Exchange. There is a hotfix that Death will no longer assign bosses he shouldn't. Resizing the interface in edit mode will now automatically update the interface to take a new size into consideration. Monks in the Zamorak and the Paternomus Church can now be damaged by AoE abilities. Fix an issue that prevented Varrock Armor 4 from being unlocked once the requirements were met. Added blocking to the 2 trees outside of the Jernor Manor and south of the Barbarian Village. Reporting a player from a clan will now correctly gray out the name of the reporter. Chat messages regarding luck increasing items are now fully localized on German, French, and Brazilian/Portuguese servers. The naming convention for died objects has been made more consistent. Fix an issue that caused some of the boss buttons on the Reaper's Choice list to be disabled even when the player met the requirements. Opening the Upgrades and Extras interface at the start of the duel will no longer delay the first hit of damage. Expanding the Feats achievement category will no longer make the scroll bar disappear. Fix the bug on the back button on the desktop. The mobile button is still working as intended. Corrected some minor mapping issues in War's Retreat. Made a number of changes to the Feathers of Maha to stop issues with completing corrupted creature slayer tasks, such as feathers are now destroyed on drop to prevent them from being placed on the floor. Feathers can no longer be traded to a beast of burden. You must now have at least 1 feather in your backpack before starting to fight corrupted creatures and soul devourers. Loot will now go to the person who used the feather rather than the person who hit the creature first. And raid bosses and the first 2 bosses of each elite dungeon are once again hidden in the Reaper's Choice and cannot be assigned as a Reaper's task. Fix an issue where all subsequent bosses in the Reaper's Choice interface after the first locked boss were still also locked. Death once again ignores soft conditions on bosses when determining whether he can assign them as a Reaper task. For example, Death will assign the Magister provided you have 115 Slayer, even if you don't have any keys of the crossing. Soft conditions include acquirables, items such as the borrowed totems, the ascension keys, etc., etc. Soft conditions, as described as above, are now distinguished from hard requirements in the tooltips for beast boss requirements, and the relevant wording has been made more clear. Corrected the issue where the Song from the Depths was unintentionally a requirement for Death to assign the Queen Black Dragon as a Reaper task. Just makes it a little bit easier if you do it. Missing requirements, both hard and soft, have been added to the requirements section of the Beast tab. The familiar renewal message is no longer duplicated when the familiar is renewed with an active totem summoning. The Ice Fiends on Ice Mountain will no longer attack using fire. Potions now consistently show doses in the Herblore skill guide. Fix an issue where players could not restore summoning points if they didn't have a pet summoned. Players must now use the grand piano key on the piano to unlock a door to the Southern Broken Home quest. Shekahan cannot be poisoned unless using a poison spear and poison potion. Shakahan, if I'm saying that right, is also dropping bones again, so that's where the Archglacier was getting them from. The correct NPC animation will now play during the scene from Falador map table while Gothic sleeps. The Berserker Blood Essence buff will no longer remove unrelated buffs when it expires. Unreachable spots near the elf camp are now reachable. The camera can now be freely rotated during the court case scene in King's Ransom. The animation played when riveting masterwork armor has changed. You may now toggle whether buckets are destroyed or not when making molten glass. The player character will no longer freeze after casting two-handed shock and horror spells. You may now choose between 3 different personalities for your Kipple Nano pet. And that is actually everything, guys, so thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later, guys.